We usually start on time, but we're just giving Councilwoman Rosbowski a few more minutes to see if she's running a few minutes late. So just bear with us a couple of minutes. We'll start shortly. You guys are the brave ones. I appreciate you all coming out and going through the cold weather and all. But as we said, we live in the great Northeast, so we should be used to this. Gotta wear my glasses now. It's fine print. Your eyes are the first to go. About 28. Well, I think we'll get started. I don't want to wait too long because it is a little bit of a kind of a meaty address, I would say. We have a lot of initiatives in there. I was just saying, please forgive me. I'm finding that I have to use my glasses, my cheaters, more and more nowadays. I say that your eyes are the first to go, and it happens when you turn 28. What can I say? Let's go laugh. Open with a joke. They always say open with a joke. Yeah, it doesn't get any better, thanks. Well, first let me start by wishing you all a happy new year on behalf of the board and extending all of you good wishes for 2014. Before we get started, I want to welcome our newest member, Jim Martin. Jim is joining the board. I think this is your second meeting, Jim?
Yeah, I'm a vet now.
Absolutely. You bring a wealth of knowledge and experience in economic development. You'll hear that we have a lot of economic development plans, and Jim is the one that's going to help us get it done. I also want to thank the board for all the work they've done throughout the 4 years that we've been together. Their dedication to the town and the work they do is unmatched. We've done a lot together. I'm proud to serve with each of you, and I'm looking forward to many more years working with all of you. I want to acknowledge the great work of our phenomenal staff. Unfortunately, we can't name them all, but we certainly know that each day all of you continue to do more with less. You continue to deliver the best services to our residents, and while at times it may seem that your work goes unappreciated, it is not. We thank you for all that you do. And of course, we must acknowledge the tremendous work of all our volunteers. Of all the accomplishments that we'll talk about tonight, none of them are made possible without this special group of people. I want to thank you all for your service, and I know we have a few of you here tonight. So, before we get started, I'd like to take a moment just to reflect on the first term of this administration, because I believe that that will give us the greatest indicator of the second term. In the 2009 campaign, we promised to get the town's fiscal house in order, and we did that, step by step. We cut our fund balance dependency, we achieved a bond rating upgrade, and cut non-mandated spending. We also promised to focus on economic development, and we did that too. Today we have Target and Panera, the Social Building, and Mohawk Honda dealership, just to name a few projects. We formed a local development corporation, launched the Ready Fund to invest in our business and commercial corridors, and we're welcoming new manufacturing projects at the Tech Park and the airport grounds. We're seeing new housing developments, and this year we hope and are close to welcoming a major chain sit-down restaurant here in our town center. Just today, I spoke with the developer of the Target property who happened to be driving through Glenville. He lives in New York City, but he couldn't land there because of the weather. He landed in Syracuse, rented a car, and came through Glenville. He called, he wanted to get together, and he wanted to tell me how astonished he was about the progress that he has seen in this town in 4 short years. He said that he works with towns that would give anything to accomplish just some of the things that we have. And I was proud to hear that from him. We promised to work with our government partners, and we have. We worked with the state to help redevelop the Maple Ave and Glen Ridge Road roundabout, partnered with Metroplex on many development projects, and with the county on the Unified Dispatch Center. And actually, we made the agreement a better one than what was originally offered. Now, we will work jointly with the village on the possible sewage treatment plant and assuming responsibilities for village court. By all measures, the past 4 years have been productive. By all measures, the past year was a good one. We again cut our dependency on the fund balance even further. We again stayed under the tax cap since we have, ever since it was instituted. We also continue to welcome new businesses to our commercial corridor, and we continue to improve our town center. And we have implemented various economic development programs that are starting to work for Glenville. Looking ahead, challenges certainly persist. Our revenues continue to stagnate, our county and state mandated expense continue to climb out of sight, and the taxpayer's pocketbook continues to be at risk. We know our challenges. We know that we are the government closest to the people with the responsibility of delivering core services that residents have come to expect, and frankly the services that residents deserve for the taxes they pay. So I want to go over 3 key areas tonight: budget and finance, economic development, and operations. First, let's review budget and finance. Some of the key things we achieved over the years. Number 1, we continue to reduce the town's risky use of the fund balance. I want to talk about that just briefly. We inherited the allocation of a $1.4 million allocation of the fund balance in the 2010 budget. Using the fund balance to pay for operational expenses is like using your savings account to pay your mortgage because you're not making enough income. Now, that we were using $1.4 million in 2010 before this administration came into office. That was 41% of our savings was being used on operational expenses. Today, I'm proud to say that in the 2014 budget, we reduced that to just $610,000, or just 16% of our savings. Over the years, this board has taken incremental steps off of that dependency and will continue to work towards a goal of further reducing that dependency to under $250,000. I also like to announce that we will end 2013, or have ended 2013, with surpluses in both our A and B funds. We have a surplus of $225,000 in our A fund and a surplus of $80,000 in our B fund. It's important to note that our current fund balance levels are on par with those recommended by the Government Finance Officers Association. And our fund balance levels have helped us earn the bond rating upgrade 2 years ago. Number 2, we stayed under the tax cap since it was opposed 3 years ago. Now it's worth, seeing that we all just got our tax bills not too long ago, talking briefly about these tax bills. This year's tax levy increase was just 1.4%, an improvement over last year's levy increase of 3.5%. That 1.4% means that your town taxes in the average townhouse went up by about $8 a year. And for a village home, about $6.31 a year. The town stayed about $96,000 below the 2014 tax cap allocation. So we didn't just meet the tax cap, we came in well under the tax cap. And if you look at the last 3 years, this town stayed $175,000 below the allowable tax cap. This was achieved partly due to our conservative spending habits. And over the past 4 years, we were able to cut non-mandated spending by $450,000 and have delivered a 3-year average levy increase of just 1.7%. We've reduced our employee count by 10 since 2009, but continue to deliver the same services. Looking further, we maintain adequate revenue after a bad sales tax deal. We unfortunately in this county, and I know we have Peter Bardunas from the Southern Saratoga Chamber with us. Thank you very much for coming here. You're a good partner with this town. I know we're not in Saratoga County, but we do appreciate our work.
For the record, I live closer to here than Mr. Steiner does.
Oh, there you go.
But he's a good friend regardless.
We don't have the same sales tax sharing formula they have in Saratoga County. We are envious. Saratoga towns get 50% of the sales tax that are collected in Saratoga County. Schenectady towns get 25% of the sales tax collected in Schenectady County. In Albany, the local governments there get 40%. So we are, in my estimation, as a locality, being shortchanged on the sales tax formula here in Schenectady County. What that means is what we don't get in sales tax gets shifted to property tax. There are only so many tax revenue lines, or so many revenue lines a town is allowed to collect on. Mortgage tax being one of them, sales tax and property tax are the three largest. So that sales tax agreement that was made between the city and the county hurts property taxpayers in all towns. Worse, our Metroplex sales tax revenue grew only 1.2% in 2013, well below the 3% it grew in 2012, so sales tax collection seems to be slowing down, which is not a good sign. And in 2013, our sales tax revenue is less than it was in 2008, so that line is decreasing. When you look at our other revenue lines, I mentioned mortgage tax. That's been volatile since 2008, as you can imagine with the housing market. In the past 5 years, we've seen yearly swings of a drop of 12% to an increase of 27%. Now, 2013 happened to be a particularly good year for us, one of our best since '07, but our mortgage revenues in the last 4 months are down 30% over the same period in 2012. This is further proof that that is an unpredictable revenue line. State aid hasn't been any better. CHIPS, what we call CHIPS, which is our highway, helps us with paving and other highway projects, has remained constant in the years, well below historic averages. Our 2014 aid is expected to be $160,000 for the third straight year. The same holds true for what they call AIM, Aid to Municipalities. This is direct funding from the state. That has dropped over the years for our town from $190,000 in 2008 to just $176,000 in 2014. That's an 8% drop in 6 years. But the expenses keep rising. The inverse is true for our expenses than what I just talked about with our revenue. Retirement, health insurance, election expenses have all had large increases over the past year. And this town has virtually no ability to control the costs without mandate relief, without the state instituting mandate relief. It's no secret the employee benefits drive this budget, as they do with every municipality. We are a people business. The two biggest benefits are health insurance and state retirement. They total $2 million in our 2008 budget. In 2013, these costs rise to $2.97 million. That's a $950,000 increase in just 5 years, and an annual increase of 8% per year, every year. Just as the growth with health insurance and retirement consumes most of our tax cap every year, and we have no power to change that. Our retirement costs are up. In fact, they're up 81% over 4 years, from 2010 to 2014. Our 2013 actual retirement cost was $1.26 million. Now remember, these costs were zero in 2001. But since 2001, our expected cost increase in the 2014 budget will be $1.3 million. It's a lot to absorb in those short years. Health insurance, same thing. We've seen that go up double digits. Election expense, this is something worth talking about briefly because it's a little bit of a case study for what we might go through with the UCC. We will see an increase of another 7% in 2015 in what we call our election expense. Now in 2005, all towns used to run their own elections. The county came in and said, well, what a good idea if we consolidate. We promise it'll be cheaper because there'll be efficiency. And that sounded good to everybody. But the model that was set up was that they will run the elections and they will pass the bill on to us. So what has happened since then? The cost has risen 378% since the county took over the election expense in 2005. From a budget item of about $81,000 to $388,000. Now, this is the same type of agreement that we'll be getting into with our county dispatch later this year. Although they promise significant savings, we must be cautious on how it turned out with the election expense, that it does not turn out that way with our dispatch. The bright spot is the reducing our town indebtedness. Since 2010, the overall town debt has been reduced by $4 million. It was $23 million on 1/1/2010, and today it is approximately $19 million. We have utilized, this board has decided, a pay-as-you-go approach to major purchases with the goal of reducing the debt by another $1 million per year, every year for the next 4 years. Our goals for the budget and our challenges include the continued reduction of the town's dependency on the fund balance, as I had mentioned to you, and to stay within the tax cap for the 2015 budget. Our tax cap, by the way, in 2015 is 1.4%, not 2%, because it's inflation or 2%, whichever is less. So we have significant challenges. As we look into 2014, all 3 of our union contracts expired in 2012, so we have to negotiate the union contracts. We will continue our approach to focus on total employee compensation. This is an important principle. This principle, total employee compensation, looks at the employee's complete compensation from a comprehensive look, which includes the total cost of their benefits and their salary. We live in a tax cap world now, and we can no longer absorb the cost of employee benefits independent of wage increases. We all must shift our thinking and restructure benefit plans to help find resources to fund salary increases. No longer can we say salary goes up without some benefit reduction. The towns just cannot afford it. The taxpayers just cannot afford it anymore. Employee health care costs, in fact, continues to rise faster than the tax cap. The 14 increase is about 3%. Remember, our 14 increase was, tax cap was only 1.6%. Another challenge of ours is that the neglected purchase of heavy equipment in the Department of Public Works over the past 10 years is now coming home to roost. And we are in need of replacing several pieces of heavy machinery in the coming months and years. These purchases are typically 6 figures. That takes cash or bonding. This board has utilized in the past fund balance allocation, and that's the reason why the highway fund did not break even this year. We had to purchase the truck with cash earlier this year in 2013. God bless you. I mentioned the sales tax revenues are flat for 7 years. They have been for the past 7 years, and they will be for the next 7 years. That's the deal that the county and the city made. We had, independent of us, we had nothing to do with it, unfortunately. And one of the other big challenges, we expect significant employee retirements this year in the coming years. This presents 2 problems. We're going to have a significant brain drain among our staff this year. But also we have a high cost of what they call payouts for leave time accumulated over the years. We expect that each retirement will cost us about $30,000 in cash out the door. So even if just 10 people leave this year, retire, and we've already been through a few, and we've got more than that to go, we will see $300,000 in new spending this year. That is what we use our fund balance for. Our challenges are present, but residents should know that this staff and board have made the right decisions to place us on solid ground, and we are well prepared for what lies ahead. Our fund balance is healthy, our debt is low, our levy increases have been modest, and we will continue the fiscal conservative policies that earned us a bond rating increase and fiscal scores from the comptroller that are among the best in the state. The bedrock, apologize, we had a 7 o'clock start. I know it didn't get in the paper the way it should have, so we apologize. No, not your fault. We'll blame the Gazette, they're not here. So the bedrock of the progress that we've just talked about is largely attributed to our smart economic development, and we've accomplished much over the years. 2013, some successes. Our LDC was completed to form and is now ready to help our small businesses grow and help create jobs right here in Glenville. We've welcomed new projects across the town that include new and significant development in our technology park at Social Plaza, here at Patriot Square, new senior housing at Dutch Meadows, and the second phase of the Baptist Health Project. All told, we welcomed about $85 million in new investments last year, and that have created jobs right here in Glenville. We held our second developer showcase, bringing together property owners, developers, realtors, and town officials to help fill empty spaces and develop vacant properties. In conjunction with Richmore Aviation and our SBED group, we hosted our 4th annual Oktoberfest, which was our most successful one yet and attracted around 10,000 people into our commercial corridor. We implemented the town's marketing plan to help promote Glenville and its businesses, and this included a Shop Glenville advertisement campaign during this past holiday season. And evidence of the new investment in Glenville is that our building permit revenue for 2013 totaled nearly $200,000. That's double our 2012 revenue, and I'm told likely the highest in town history. Some of our goals include the newly created Capital Improvement and Strategic Initiatives Committee that will focus on our infrastructure needs, which include the possibility of a new sewer plant that can be opened, or that can open up sewers up north of Route 50 to our county line. This proposed project, working with the village, can offer an upgraded sewer plant that is expandable, more efficient, and more environmentally friendly. And best of all, it offers us the opportunity to achieve our longtime goal of fixing the sewer system on Freeman's Bridge Road while expanding north of on Route 50. Another goal of ours is to continue the beautification of the town center with new sidewalks and upgraded lighting. This is an important project for Glenville, our business community, and our residents, and we will continue to explore multiple funding options to beautify town center. The sidewalk portion of that plan will begin this fall. Now we're working on finding funding for the lights. We want to streamline our approval process, which I'm proud to say is actually in pretty good shape. Metroplex came to us, a quick side story, and said that they had a tenant for our technology and business park, and they needed approvals pretty quickly. And in fact, our committees and our volunteers and our staff were able to site a building in that park within 28 days, which met the timetable, and we should be hearing an announcement shortly on the new tenant for that building. But it was really an impressive feat by the staff. I think, Jim, you mentioned it was probably quite unique.
That's correct.
And and there was no integrity that was compromised in the process. That was even more impressive. Another goal is to reauthorize our READY program for business marketing here in the town and to help with the beautification of our town businesses. And we want to update our comprehensive plan. Our last comprehensive plan was completed in 1990, which meant that work on that was done in the late 80s. Now think about that. We have a plan that we're using that was last done when the first George Bush was president. Since then, much has changed in our town, and it's time to start the process, and I know Councilman Martin will lead that charge. As he was one of the ones that advocated heavily to start the process. We like to run more special events. Oktoberfest has become an important community event for the town, along with Winterfest. Winterfest, which I'm told is, to put a plug in, is February 8th this year in Indian Meadows Park. If you can all come, it'd be great. But I know that Councilman Ramatar and I have talked much about the new work in the park that's happening in Melwick, the dog park, upgraded pavilions, and some other great things that I know you have some ideas for, Councilman Ramatar, going forward. So those are some of the goals we have in economic development. Just real quick, I want to talk one more area, which is operational review, because it's going to be a big area this year. I want to start by talking about the first of many reorganizations this year. And I'll talk about the much publicized reorganization in the supervisor's office that I think we just went through. Due to the change in the supervisors to going full-time and utilizing a part-time retiree, we were able to gain efficiencies in that office and cut our spending by $16,000. This will be the template going forward as we look to deal with more retirements this year and in the coming years. We improved efficiency in the receiver of taxes office and the town clerk's office that allowed us to reduce processing and employee costs. We utilized the availability of technology, and that was a key accomplishment for us to achieve these savings. So our goal is to include technology, upgrade our records management practices, pursue more shared services, and deal with the 11 employees in dispatch, provide critical support to our police and courts, not to mention the services they provide to our residents. So technology, finding new ways of utilizing staff, trying to deliver the same service with fewer employees as they begin to retire, and finding new efficient ways of cross-training people will be an important part of the coming year. And then lastly, we prepare for the removal of the dispatch center from Town Hall this early spring, maybe mid to late spring. We'll see how it goes. This will be a big challenge for Councilman Pittavani, as we talked about, Councilwoman Rosbowski, Police Chief Rinaldi. Will be the impending removal of our public safety dispatch from Town Hall in 2014. We'll work this year to identify the key services the dispatch currently provides to our residents, town court, and the police department, and we'll plan for a transition that is affordable, efficient, and continues to meet the needs of our residents. At the same time, we will be absorbing the village courts here into this town court, and we will be adding more caseloads to the town justices and our staff. So at the very time that they're losing their support staff, they're gaining a doubling of their caseload. So that's going to be a significant challenge for us to get through. So clearly we have a lot of ambitious plans ahead. Some have said maybe too ambitious, but I really don't think that there's anything on here that we really can't achieve. This board, I think, has its hallmark, is to think big and to accomplish much for our residents, and to remember that we are here for a reason, that we're here to serve each other. I ask each of us, the board members, the employees, the volunteers, and residents, to join in service to each other and to believe that we can accomplish these things and that we should never settle for just the ordinary. They say that we're a town of great neighbors, and that is definitely true. But we're also a town of extraordinary people, of great potential, of wonderful neighborhoods, and the best parks. We have a vibrant business community. We have among the best schools and the town staff that's dedicated to serving the people. So let me report tonight that the state of our town is very strong and that our future is equally bright. Thank you all for coming tonight, and I guess if you'd like, we can take just a few questions before we go into our board meeting. If anyone has any questions about what you heard tonight or anything else related to the town. Any questions at all? Okay, seeing none, we will go into our board meeting. So thank you all for coming early and listening to the state of the town. Just give me 1 minute to get situated. I guess Gina's not coming. Good thing we didn't go through it. Our timing was pretty good. We didn't wait for that. Good evening and welcome to the January 22nd meeting of the Glenville Town Board. Please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Dear Lord, we meet here today in your presence. You are our source, our origin. Your spirit binds us together in respect, dignity, and concern for each other. Gather our community together now and help us to join in service to this town. Give us the grace to look beyond all divisions, to find common ground, and to do the work of the people. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll.
Councilman Martin?
Here.
Councilman Pittavani?
Here.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Here.
Let the record show Councilwoman Rosbowski is absent. Supervisor Petzley?
Here. Thank you for coming, and for all those who came in a little late, I apologize. Somewhat awkward. We started at 7. We publicized it in the paper, but they never publicized that, so I apologize. It appeared you were walking in on a meeting that already started. Now we're starting the actual board meeting, so we didn't miss anything from that point of view. The agenda is up here if anyone would like to take one. We do have one item that we're going to remove from the agenda, and that is item 15, a resolution authorizing the police chief to purchase 2 marked vehicles that will be removed from now. Probably deal with that at a future date. So with that, I'll start with the town council reports. I'll start on my left with Councilman Remington.
Just one thing, Mr. Supervisor, and I think you mentioned most of it. Jamie is now the deputy supervisor, and I met earlier this week, and we talked about a couple of things that are happening in the parks, Mellon Park, the master plan, the pavilion, Indian Meadows, and some things that we're hoping to do with July. In addition to EIG having some great plans for efficiency in government in terms of technology upgrades. So looking forward to a great year with some new reports.
Thank you. Councilman Martin.
Yes, I have one thing to report, and that concerns the results of a recently completed survey of the town residents in regards to the types of businesses that the residents would like to see in the community. And I want to extend thanks to the Local Development Corporation for sponsoring this survey, specifically the members of the Business Development Committee of that corporation, and the people specifically. A couple are here tonight: Brian Nisley, Jeff Watson, Dave Kramer, Dave Hitchcock, and Joyce Matalone. That subcommittee was instrumental in putting this survey together. They did an excellent job promoting the survey all through the spring and summer into the fall. And actually, copies were available at Oktoberfest. I know Dave was there hawking the survey while people were eating. And we got a lot of responses. There were some, I think it was over 300 responses, which is very good. Anybody who's into statistics knows that that is significant. And I just wanted to share some of those results. Clearly, many of the people who responded to the survey were more than 20 years in residency, over 52% of the respondents. Most were over age 41. And there was a fair amount of female response. 61% of the respondents were females. And the businesses that they most favored expanding were in recreational areas. And most specifically, and this is no surprise, a family restaurant was the #1 most desired ad. There was high encouragement for single-family home development, less so for apartments and multifamily. And then other businesses that were looked for, sports and exercise, gifts, home decoration, arts related, were all very popular. Actually, all the things listed were over I think a 55% favorable response, approaching 60% even for kitchen goods and children's clothing. So there's a lot of interest in more merchandise being available in the community. And then it went on to ask how often people shop, how much they spent, and so on. And those last two questions are most important, as now this is going to be a tool going forward for the Business Development Committee and the Local Development Corporation and SBED as we go out and market and promote the town. We have some real results here to bring to potential developers and show them where the interest lies. And most importantly, we don't have to be reactive and wait for things to come to us. We can go out proactively and seek out those things that our residents want to see, and that's what we intend to do. But I want to extend my wholehearted thanks to the people who worked in this survey, the residents of our community, volunteering their time and their talents, and it's just excellent, excellent piece of work. And it's really nice to work with such fine people.
Thank you. Councilman Philip.
Thank you. Last week I attended the Wellfield Protection Committee meeting. I was very impressed with the group of individuals there on that committee. They are making sure that our water supply is safe today as well as into the future. And also I would like to mention, unless you live in a bubble, you would know that 3 of our Glenville employees assisted in the birth of 2 babies this week. The first one being dispatcher Lori Fredericks, talked the father through the delivery as Lieutenant Rick Conley responded and got to the car at our new roundabout on Glenville Road. And the other one was dispatcher Joanne McPhail talking the father through the delivery. We plan on recognizing all three of them at our next board meeting, but I wanted to make sure that at least said something today and congratulate all three of them.
All within like 12 hours.
Well, within 12 hours, all of them, yeah.
Baby boom in Glenville. Excellent, thank you. So we'll move on to our public hearings. We have just a few. What we'll do is we'll open the public hearing. Anyone who wishes to be heard on it, we'll invite you up, make your comments to the board, and we'll move on that way. So the first public hearing, to hear all those considered for a proposed extension to Water District 11 to include property located at 11 7th Street in Glenville, which is what is to be known as the Old Dominion Freight Line. The public hearing is now open. Anyone wish to be heard on that matter? Going once, going twice. That public hearing is now closed. Second public hearing is to hear all those who wish to be heard on a proposed extension of Water District 11 to include the property of 2160 to 2165 Amsterdam Road in Glenville, known as the Scotia Industrial Park. That is now open. Anyone wish to be heard on that matter? Going once, going twice. That public hearing is now closed. Last public hearing. To hear all those who wish to be heard regarding a proposed transfer of permanent utility easement in a portion of 7th Street in Glenville, known as the Old Dominion Freight Line. That is now open. Anyone wish to be heard in that matter? Going once, going twice. That public hearing is now closed. We now have a brief presentation from our local development corporation on their 2014 action plan. Mr. Eustace.
Thanks, Supervisor. Board members, distinguished guests. As Chris indicated, I will be brief. Our goal at the Local Development Corporation for 2014 is to make loans. Thanks for your attention. Does anybody have any questions?
See, you opened with the joke. That was very good. That worked.
Well, more serious. We welcome the new and re-elected board members, and we look forward to working closely with Supervisor Ketzley and town board this year. We do greatly appreciate the cooperation that we've gotten from you thus far, and by the way, thanks a lot for the $565,000 for the kitty. That helps a lot. I had previously circulated a detailed agenda for 2014, but I'm going to limit this to a few specific topics from that list. The two major events that take place in the town during the year are the Let's Talk Business Developer Reception, which is being held this year on April 24th at the Riverstone Manor, and the Oktoberfest, which will be held again in September. And although the GLDC is not specifically the sponsor of the developer event in April, all of our members support the event for the Glenville Business Professional Association. Last year's participation was almost 200 attendees, consisting of brokers, property owners, industry notables, and many of whom commented on the fact that Glenville is the only regional municipality to hold such an event. Sponsor participation last year was over $6,000, which was large enough to cover the cost of the event and leave a surplus for the GBPA. So we look forward to an equally successful event this year. This is our best opportunity to show off our town's development potential, and we urge that you mark your calendars because your support is critical. Similarly, the Oktoberfest, which is actually a GBPA-sponsored event, but we provide many of the volunteers. The GLDC shared a booth this year for the first time, and a number of our handouts were distributed. And we feel that this is a good method to make our presence felt in the town and to get our message out to the citizens that we are now operational. Obviously, there's a fair amount of cross-pollination that takes place between our volunteer organizations. The common goal is to continue to make Glenville a great place to live and work in. The LOAD program is now fully established. Guidelines and applications are on the website. business development and loan review committees are fully staffed and ready to process applications. Some loans are under consideration at this time, both in the micro and macro loan categories. Micro loans go up to $10,000, and macro loans are reserved for larger amounts. And our fund balance is adequate to handle loans in both categories. We will be working closely with other Glenville town departments, with Metroplex, as well as the Village of Scotia, to maintain an awareness of the projects being planned or considered that could represent an opportunity for us to assist small business people with either startup or operating cash needs. Jim Martin has begun a dialogue with Scotia Mayor Chris Casberg on ways for the town and the village to work together to promote lending opportunities, and we will continue to discuss them with the mayor and his team. Jim's wisdom and enthusiasm are one of the reasons that this organization exists, and we're extremely grateful for his guidance. That brings me to our fund balance, which is currently $550,000. Startup costs for legal fees during 2013 consumed about $15,000, principally to assure compliance with New York State regulations set forth by the authority's budget office, which has established very stringent rules applicable to LDCs and how the funds are administered. Legal guidance and organizational affairs are handled by our counsel, town counsel Mike Cuevas, and John Hartzell from the Nolan Heller Law Firm. They've been invaluable in guiding us through the layers of regulations needed to launch the GLDC, and we're confident that our subrecipient agreement and related documents are all in order. We've benefited also from excellent advice from Bob Murray, who is president of Shelter Planning. He's worked with LDCs, IDAs, and similar organizations throughout the state, and he's an expert on the policies and procedures that are so critical to a properly functioning organization such as ours. So we are indebted to Bob for his knowledge and unqualified support. Regarding the Scotia Glenville Research Technology Park, we believe this is an excellent facility for us to participate in the growth of new and existing businesses, and we look forward to working with the town and the village promoting those activities. Some of the planning is contained in my program outline, so I won't detail them here again. In closing, I reiterate that our primary goal for this year is to generate loan activity, leading to more job creation and advancement of our local businesses. We believe that Glenville is experiencing a good growth pattern with good leadership and smart policies, and we intend to become integral to that growth. We will be marketing our capability to both individual businesses as well as those organizations that service them, such as banks, vendors, and the real estate community. So in the coming months, we urge that as you go about your duties as community leaders and citizens, that you keep an eye out for opportunities for us to pursue that goal.
Thank you. Dick, before, just real quick, two things. I want to thank you for all your work. I know Jim was an important part of putting this together, but you are as well, President, and I'm looking forward to working with you this year. Two things I just want to stress. The money that was used to start the Glenville Local Development Corporation was not town money, it was not taxpayer money. It was money that came from a business within the community, a repaid loan that was made by the federal government. The way to keep that money here instead of sending it back to the state, if I have that correct, was to start this local development corporation. So this, for the purpose of these loans, is for job creation, correct?
Right.
So the loans have to be tied to creating some sort of jobs in the community.
It's not only job creation, it's primarily oriented toward low mod income employees and people and businesses.
So I just wanted to point out that it's not Glenville money. In the town, this is, the LDC is separate from the town completely. Now, you have your own governing body and your own bylaws, but we're here to support you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Anybody else? Thank you. We now have privilege of the floor. Does anyone wish to be heard tonight on privilege of the floor? If you do, just raise your hand. We don't have anyone signed up, but we're welcome to cast. Mr. Berg, please.
Since I'm here, I thought I would say hello. Hello, everyone. I'm Pete Bardunias, President of the Chamber of Southern Saratoga County. I've snuck across the border to come over here to Schenectady County and say hello. It's great. We've had a lot of great opportunities to work together already, things like Capital Region Maritime Center, et cetera. And I just wanted to pledge our chamber's support. Working with our colleagues at the Schenectady County Chamber, it's no secret that the Schenectady County and Saratoga, Southern Saratoga Chambers work very closely together. Mr. Steiner, Chuck Steiner, the president there, his wife Marcy was actually the chairwoman of our chamber when I was hired. So we have a very close relationship. And I'm sure that Chuck would agree that we would like to work together in any way we can to give Glenville the support it needs. Looking forward to talking business on April 24th. And you know where we are. Anytime we can help, we're more than willing to do what we can to make things happen. So we're really pleased to hear the great status report and looking forward to some good things in the future.
Thank you, Peter. Same here. Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard tonight? That privilege of the floor. Seeing none, privilege of the floor is now closed. Before we move on, I'm going to waive supervisor's comments to the board unless you guys really want to hear reports. I figured the, well, Councilman Ramatar doesn't. Since we had the state of the town, I don't think I need to really add any more unless you guys want it. But in lieu of that, we have a special presentation tonight by one of our residents. So I'm going to call her up. She wishes to make a presentation. Lorraine, if you would join me at the podium. Lorraine Deere has gone through some great work and a lot of hard work, Lorraine. She wanted to join us tonight to present to the town board and some of the staff certificates of appreciation that she's made up. Does that cover it? Is that pretty good?
You did a good job.
All right, thank you very much. So,
I voted for you.
oh, thank you. I didn't pay her for that at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to start. We're going to call up each person you'd like to give a certificate to. You can present it to them.
Yes.
And then afterwards, we'll all get together for one big picture, if that's okay. Okay? No speeches by any of you guys. Just Lorraine, you can make a speech if you like.
Okay, everybody.
So you ready?
You're going to name them.
I'll name them. Okay, we'll start with, we're starting on that side there.
I think I better get my glasses.
Okay. Lorraine has worked hard on these certificates. They're very nice, actually.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll start with Councilman Pilavani.
Hi, it's nice to know you. I just thought you do a good job.
Thank you.
And I have never been here and seen anything like this before. So I just thought I would do for all you nice people that are doing a wonderful job. And this is a nice town to live in.
Excellent.
Thank you. Me too.
Now, Councilman Martin's it's only second meeting. I don't know, is he already getting an award? Are we going to give Councilman Martin an award? Come on down, Councilman Martin.
You don't have to hurry.
I usually run around.
Well, you're, like I said before, you're all good workers, and you're doing a marvelous job, and everybody should come here and learn.
Okay, well, thank you. I was by when we were walking for the campaign. I remember you distinctly, and one of only a handful of people out of the hundreds we went to who invited us into your home. And I remember this means a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You didn't stay too long, Mark.
Half hour.
Our town clerk, who keeps us all straight and makes sure we're doing everything correctly, Linda Niels.
Yep. Just special for you, too. You're doing a good job. Yeah.
Come visit us, okay?
I will do that. Yes. Well, I gotta come and do a little chat with that someone anyway. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow.
Okay.
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 Have fun.
Gina, Councilwoman Rosbowski did not make it tonight. We will make sure she gets hers.
Okay.
Councilman Ramatar is here.
Oh, into that.
Okay.
What did you do tonight?
I'm sorry?
What did you do tonight?
Too much right, as of right now, but do I get an award anyway?
You get it anyway.
Two more special awards. One's not here though tonight, right? Is Billy Mole here? No, Billy Mole couldn't make it tonight.
Couldn't make it.
Billy Mole could not make it.
Okay.
But we do have our highway superintendent, Tom Capola.
Did you show up? Oh, you showed up? Wow, wow. You know what? I pay attention. I had no idea that you had so many people that you work with. Yeah. Do you know that, Linda, how long ago was when I did something for the men?
Probably about 5 years ago,
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah.
Yes.
I gave each one of them a citation way back.
I was one of those guys.
You-
That's who I remember.
Were you there? Did you get the citation? Oh, my goodness, you're wonderful. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Is that all, Lorraine? Is that all? Are we done?
Yep, but the thing is, I have one for your wife.
Oh, for my wife.
Your
My
wife.
gets an award. That's very nice. Oh, a picture of me. She's gonna love it. She's gonna love that.
I don't know.
Oh, she's gonna love it. Thank you very much.
Okay, don't go away.
Okay.
This one is for your office.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice, Lorraine.
Okay,
One for my wife and one for me?
yes.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome. That's the welcome. I really did. Okay.
Be careful. I'm gonna help you over this cord.
And you know what else I got?
What's that?
Look what I made for his wife.
Oh, that's beautiful. She's gonna like that.
She can put it any place she wishes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, all right.
Don't trip. I'm gonna
Yeah,
help you with this.
and I saw this a while back,
Mhm.
and I cut it out. And I put it in my workshop. And I thought I'd go down and get it and frame it and put it wherever you want
All
to.
sorts of things. Thank you very much, Lorraine.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you very
All
much.
righty.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Lorraine. That means a lot to us. Thank you.
It really does.
Thank you very much. Okay, so back to the agenda. We have a resolution issuing a negative declaration pursuant to the seeker process for zoning map amendment to change the zoning of 233 Saratoga Road. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Moved in second. Any discussion? This again is, we discussed this in the work session. This would move from professional residential to community business for the address I mentioned, which is right across from Target. This is just issuing a negative declaration. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, please report the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Pipeloni?
Yes.
Councilman Ramatar?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next resolution is the resolution approving the zoning map amendments at the same address from the same zone, professional residential to community business. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Moved in second. Any discussion? This is just moving the negative deck. We just
Just wanted to point out that there was some wider consideration given for this particular rezoning action, and after we heard from the neighbors in that particular area, it was scaled back just to include this one parcel in response to their input.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please report the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Pipeloni?
Yes.
Councilman Ramatar?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 13, resolution issuing a negative declaration pursuant to seeker for amendments to the zoning of the code of the town of Glenville for the addition of agricultural activities and roadside produce stands as land use permitted by right within the riverfront commercial zoning district. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
There a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Again, this is issuing a negative declaration on the seeker to make this amendment to the code. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Pedalani?
Yes.
Councilman Ramichardi?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 14, adopting the local law number 1 of 2014 that changes the definition of for the agricultural activities formed on roadside produce stands as land use permitted by right within the riverfront recreation and commercial zoning district. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Of course, this is what we just dealt with on the neck deck. This is the hen house, the former hen house property. Someone bought that, is farming it, and would like to sell produce on a stand, roadside stand there. Right now, that's not allowed by the zoning law, so this is just allowing that in that zone. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Pedalani?
Yes.
Councilman Ramichardi?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Of course, 15 has been removed. We're on to resolution 16, authorizing the Commissioner of Public Works to purchase one fleet vehicle. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? This is essentially a resolution that will allow the Commissioner of Public Works to buy the vehicle up to $18,000, which is budgeted in the budget we just went through. And this would be a vehicle that would be used for, actually a fleet vehicle for really mostly anyone. But it does replace the Cavalier in the building department, and they'll be using that in place of the Cavalier. But the Cavalier is a 2000, so that is a 14-year-old car. So we've got our use out of it. And the car we'll be purchasing will be probably either a used car or one on state contract. So this will not go beyond $18,000. Do I have a motion already? Second, any discussion? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Pedalani?
Yes.
Councilman Ramichardi?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 17, authorizing Carol Corbett to carry forward unused vacation days. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and second, any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, with the resignation of the assessor back in 2013, Carol Corbett basically did some more work which prevented her from using up some of the vacation time that was due to her. So based on that unique circumstance, we are going to be authorizing 7 days to carry forward for 2014 that must be used up by April 30th of 2014.
That was 2 days.
It's 7, typically it's 5, and we're letting them do 7 instead.
7 instead of 5.
It's 2 more.
Oh, 2 more, I got you, okay.
Total of 7.
Okay. I was somewhat hesitant, and I know that we have an agreement, this is not precedent setting, but I do, in consideration that she's really held down the assessor's office single-handedly for how long? At least a couple of
3
months.
months.
Yeah. Well, anyway, half the year. So that really restricted her ability to take time off, and so under those circumstances, I can support this resolution. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Pedalani?
Yes.
Councilman Ramichardi?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 18, authorizing the supervisor to execute a memorandum of understanding with the city of Albany. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Move seconded. Any discussion?
Mr. Supervisor, the City of Albany Police Department is a lead agency for an Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services, also known as the COPS grant, for the benefit of 22 law enforcement agencies within Albany, Schenectady, and Rensselaer County, with the Town of Glenville Department as a co-recipient. Since the Town of Glenville Department's Spectrus Justice System, or SJS Records Management System, will no longer be supported by New York State because the implementation of the county-wide Central Dispatch Center, it's the opinion of the Chief of Police to remain a participant of the COPS grant, which will allow the Police Department to continue to receive enhanced real-time public safety information and record management capability, which will benefit all the residents of the town. So this is a resolution for the town of Glenville to sign a memorandum of agreement to participate in the CAPS grant.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Tattelbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Ramnatar?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 19, authorizing the supervisor to execute an agreement with police reports. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Mr. Supervisor, the town of Glenville Police Department currently responds to frequent requests for copies of motor vehicle accidents reports. And these requests results in the police department's personnel expending considerable time and effort in retrieving copy and causing the reports to be delivered. The company Police Reports US LLC provides an online fee-based accident report retrieval service which would eliminate the need for any intervention of police department personnel, with the fee collected by Police Reports US LLC being shared with the town of Glenville, creating revenue previously unavailable. And this would be for us to sign a memorandum of agreement with the company, and they would charge $10, with the town of Glenville receiving $5 of that. Also, this is something that we had to be looking at with our dispatchers leaving and going to the UCC with nobody there at the window to give out accident reports. So,
Excellent. Thank you. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Tattelbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Ramnatar?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 20, approving the town department monthly reports for December 2013. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Any changes, additions, deletions, comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Tattelbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Ramnatar?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Before we get to new business, we have three add-ons. There are three public hearings we dealt with today. We don't normally move on these items the same night the public hearing is, but since we had nobody here to comment on them, I think it's safe to move ahead with these resolutions. So let's start with add-on resolution number 1, which is adopting extension number 40 to Water District 11 at a property known as 11 7th Street. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Again, this is just what we just had the public hearing on. This will hook up the water extension District 11 to 11 7th Street. This is needed for the Old Dominion project, so it's something that is very positive to the town. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Tattelbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Ramnatar?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Each of these other resolutions deal with the same type of hookup, so we don't have to explain them over again. Oh, the next one's the sewer, okay. All right, so the next one is resolution number 2, adopting extension number 41 to Water District 11 for a property known as 2160 to 2165 Amsterdam Road. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. As I just said, this is just extending that water so that project adjacent to the Old Dominion can go forward. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Tattelbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Ramnatar?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Now, a somewhat related resolution to the water is the sewer. So this is a resolution authorizing the transfer of permanent utilities easement to Old Dominion Freight Line in a portion of 7th Street, which is subject to permissive referendum. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? I think I described it already. This is just allowing that easement for the sewers for Old Dominion Freight. Please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Tattelbaum?
Yes.
Councilman Ramnatar?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Now, new business. Starting on the left with Councilman Ramsey.
No new business.
Councilman Martin.
No new business.
Councilman Tattelbaum.
No new business.
Wow. So I have no new business. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second?
Second?
Moved in second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you very much. I know, nobody did. You guys want to stay? I know. I could do the same for you.
So I guess,
Good job, Dave.
And they said, oh, we'll send you the
Baseball.
Said I wanted to go through fairly quickly.